Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I know we're also in the car again today because I always have these insane downloads when I'm coming and I'm driving for a long period of time. So today I've driven to my family's house, which is an hour and a half away, and after having that time of self-reflection, which I wouldn't normally get in such a busy life, right? Everything just comes to me. It's like those shower moments where you're showering, you have these good ideas. It's like that, but for driving. Let me know if you also have that experience. I don't know what's going on my throat right now, but I had this download of information about manifestation, so much so that now I've literally wrote it on a receipt, and my mum's probably gonna think, why is she not coming in right now? But I'm recording a video first. She probably knows I'm already here, but this needs to be said because so many people are experiencing this right now, and they probably think that it's like a bad thing is happening, but it's actually something to do with the fact that the manifestation is actually on the way. And a lot of people will take this as some sort of discouragement, that something, maybe it's not for them, maybe it's a sign. And you know, these are all the old limiting beliefs that will start coming up for you, the shadows that we need to actually work on. So write those down as they come up for you. But you'll probably feel like yeah, like I said, like, oh, I'm getting signs, it's not meant for me, maybe like something else is gonna happen, like maybe I don't deserve the manifestation because all of this is happening to me. And again, I want to save you guys from going through this and thinking that it's you and that you need to change, when actually it's a good sign, okay? It's a brilliant sign that your manifestation is happening, because basically, I'm going to go through a couple of points here, but it's going to feel like your life is sort of falling apart. And it can mean that there's like a scale, right? The highest end of the scale is like your life feels like it's literally falling apart, like one after another things are happening, all the way over to just you have a little bit of bad luck, right? Or something doesn't go as you like want it to. And this scale is going to be different for everyone, and it's going to be different in terms of how big the manifestation is and how much change you've actually gone through. So your inner work, your shadow work, how much have you been doing? If you've been doing a lot of shadow work, then the likelihood is your vibration is gonna have changed massively. I think my mum's coming out to the car, so I'm just gonna have to resume this video in a minute. Okay, so long story short, I did not gonna get to film that video again because my day was chock-a-block. So I've just got back now and it's night time. I'm just gonna finish off what I was saying. So your scale is gonna be different for each individual person, depending on obviously your journey that you're going through. So anything from a bit of bad luck to your life feeling like it's literally falling apart. And the reason for this is just because your energy is so different now compared to what it was before. Your life events, your relationships, everything you have in your life, like currently, is an association of your past self. So essentially you want to be moving away from your past, and by you moving away from your past and your past self, that also includes your scenarios, your relationship. So the first thing that's actually going to happen when you know your manifestation is about to come is that people are going to start dropping out of your life, because it's as simple as an example here, you imagine that you're now vibrating at this completely different frequency and they're still vibrating at this lower frequency that you was at before. This is why people will say to you, I don't feel like you're the same person anymore. You've changed. And they will likely blame you because they are obviously in their journey where they haven't done the inner work, they haven't done the shadow work. So they're still going to be projecting onto you and telling you that you're obviously the problem. And a lot of people, like the nice person and ourselves, are going to feel hurt by this, and they're going to feel like you have done something wrong. Maybe I was too selfish. Maybe I shouldn't have put myself first in all these scenarios. Maybe I should have left some room for them. But the truth is that they're just projecting their insecurities onto you now, and where you have filled yourself up through the self-development journey to the point where you now don't actually connect with them on a deep level, this is where they will remove themselves from your life. You won't even need to do anything. The people will reveal themselves, right? So it's not like you need to start checking in with everyone to make sure you still share the same values and they've still on the same vibration as you. The people will be the ones to check in with you and tell you the problem that they now have with you, and it will sound like you've changed. You're not the same person you are before, but again, them projecting onto you their insecurities because you are now at a level that they can't compete with. You're at a level now that is too much to handle, and they're now seeing you as a threat rather than seeing you as an accomplice. They're now seeing you as someone that threatens their safety and their survival without them realizing it, to the point where they don't feel comfortable around you anymore because you make them feel small. That's how much you've expanded. You will start to make people feel small, and this is where jealousy comes from. So again, if a person is jealous of you, someone that was in your life beforehand, is because they physically can't hold space for you anymore. So of course you're going to make them feel bad. You completely make them feel dysregulated. So this is the first thing that's going to happen when your manifestation is about to come. People will start dropping out of your life. Again, depending on how much your manifestation changes your life. If it's obviously a small little thing like seeing a red flower the next day, then your life's probably not going to change. But if it's something along the lines of like creating this massive new business or manifesting a whole new love life or moving country, then that is quite a life-shifting thing, and your life will likely start to drip away. An example, actually I'm going to keep this example for the next one. Let me find an example for people. Okay, so here's a good example, right? I had a friend beforehand who was like my best friend and had been for like years. Throughout the whole of high school, I had a very, very, very like below 5, basically close-knit of friends. And this person was one of those like top 2 friends, basically. And basically, when I first got with my partner Aaron, now we've been together for 8 years, and 8.5 years actually, nearly 9. And when I first got with him, this friend immediately hated him for no apparent reason, and she immediately started to pick arguments with me, essentially small arguments that, you know, myself, Aaron and my other friend could see were clearly not true. So how I knew that I wasn't actually in the wrong in that scenario. And I actually started to make more time because I thought that I was actually neglecting this person. So I started to make more time for them. And that essentially gave them what they wanted, really. And when I decided to move cities, to move in with my partner, because I was up-leveling my life, you know, I was moving out of this small town, going to get a job rather for a 17-year-old. I was going to get a job and everything, you know, I drove and all that business, and she immediately decided one day that I had done something that I hadn't, and then immediately blocked me as soon as I started my university degree. And at the time I was so confused by this, but I was also so fed up of her picking arguments with me. I also was like, okay, you know what, if you want to do it, then that's fine, leave my life. I really don't mind. I have this super busy life now, like, you know, my boyfriend, I'm starting university and everything. And now looking back to this day, this scenario has now also played out again, but most recently. And I've realised now that every single stage of my life where I've up-leveled my life, there's been someone that saw it as a threat and kind of projected onto me their insecurities and then made me the problem. And there's no point in fighting with people like this. It's like fighting with people who just don't understand and will never understand because their brain is in survival mode and they want to keep them safe. So of course they're going to see themselves as the good person and you're never going to convince them otherwise. So both of these people that dropped out of my life chose to leave, and I left them, and I've never spoken to them ever since this day. Never the fluff in my face, and I've never spoken to them since. But that is the most powerful thing, is to remain silent. This person and the other person, because there's now been 2 people essentially, and I don't assume it to be the first, both were people that, like, my energetic field was so full with positive things after I up-leveled my life that I physically had no energy anyways
for their negative energy. And I clearly had no energy for them in the first place after up-leveling my life, and they felt this. And yeah, they dropped out because they just weren't on the same frequency anymore. It's like as if you have a friend that you complain with all the time about life, and then you suddenly get out of that miserable situation. Maybe you do the shadow work, you manifest something good, and then that person's like, I feel like you're gone now, but they were there essentially just as like a mirror for you anyways. So now you're not on the mirror level as them. They will now feel neglected and they will immediately leave your life. But you don't want people in your life anyways that are going to drag you down. So essentially, it's a great thing of the universe to remove these people for you. So that's a really good example. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this before and you don't really realize it, but you're probably manifesting something. Like, I wasn't manifesting at the time of this first friend falling away, but essentially I realized I was manifesting. I was manifesting a lovely boyfriend. I was manifesting going to university and starting my career essentially. And I became a lot more strong-headed. So I used to let people push me around. I didn't have any boundaries. And I realized this is why I had the friends that I had back then. And when I got my partner, Aaron, he was like, girl, what are you doing with these friends? And yeah, I think they didn't like that essentially. So I'm glad that I went through that self-development journey without even realizing it. I was even doing shadow work then and manifestation then either as well. And a lot of people do and we don't even realize it. So the second thing that's going to start happening again is not just people, but everything around you. So for example, if you're manifesting a new house, it's not a bad thing for your current living situation to completely fall apart, and it's going to feel like your world is literally just crumbling below your feet. But the only reason for it is just that it's not in alignment for you, and everything that isn't in alignment for you will fall away like for you on its own. And it's not initially you're going to be like, whoa, why is this happening to me? I didn't do this. I didn't deserve this. Maybe it's a sign that I shouldn't have this manifestation, or I don't deserve this manifestation. But essentially, if it didn't crumble away, you wouldn't have had the energetic room to make space for the new thing that's coming. Secondly, if it hadn't have crumbled away, you would be having something that's now pulling down your vibration, which is pulling you further away from the new, higher vibrational house. And third of all, if you did miraculously have both in your life, this again would be something that you would now need to sort out and remove yourself manually using your energy. So if it is like you own a house, for example, but you're trying to manifest a mansion for free, like, I don't know, winning the lottery, you now have to sell this house yourself rather than having someone just come and take it off you. Do you know what I'm saying? So the universe will always be doing you a favor, whether it feels like it in the moment or not. It doesn't matter. You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to have the emotional intelligence to not react to the situation, to see it in the bigger picture. Ask yourself, is it going to affect me in a year's time? If not, doesn't matter. Ask yourself, is this actually a lesson for me? Is it falling apart in divine timing? And ultimately just let the universe do its thing. Because if you have no trust in the universe, then distrust is not a good vibration. It's on the low frequency, and low frequency vibrations cause manifestations to run the opposite direction. Same with people in your life. If you're operating on a low frequency when you're in social situations, people are not going to want to interact with you because they can feel your energy, they can feel your posture. You know, if you're sat like this, hunched over with your hands like this, or you're on your phone like this, people aren't going to approach you because they can feel your energy. Most of our communication is non-verbal, and they can see that. They can pick up on that. We're designed to pick up on non-verbal social cues, and our bodies are very good on picking up vibrations. So people will start to drop out of your life, and your life circumstances will start to fall apart as well. Obviously, you have different scales of this, as I said so in the beginning. So someone commented on my video ages ago and they were like, I literally got kicked out of my house. I'm homeless. And if something like that happens where you really do feel like you are screwed, then there's a lesson to be learned, and essentially it was meant to happen. There is always a lesson in something. if you feel like you really did not deserve this thing, then think about the lesson that you needed to learn in that scenario, because we will keep being presented the same lesson until the lesson is learnt. This could be in terms of jobs, it could be in terms of houses, it could be in terms of friends and relationships. In any way, you will get presented with that same person in a different body over and over and over. You'll get presented with the same boss over and over and over until you learn how to stand up for yourself, until you learn how to do something in your life that you need to learn. So any single bad situation in your life is happening for a reason, to show you the shadow work, the inner work that you need to do. It's there all for a reason. And you don't even need to sit down at night time to do shadow work. You can literally just look at everything in your life. Every single emotion that you feel that's on the negative scale is you reacting to something that is showing you a reflection of the things that you need to learn. There's no such thing as bad luck. There's only such things as lessons. And I get taught lessons every single day. For instance, even today, something that happened that revealed a shadow of mine that I never realized was there again. So me teaching, I'm kind of, treating everything as a lesson, right? This is how you should go about your life. You're always learning, and you're always learning to help manifestation, to help improve your life. And the thing that happened to me today was that I was meeting my mum at her house so that we can go out for a meal. And it wasn't when I was doing the video, it was later on in the day. And I had to come back from my granny's house. I was visiting my granny. I always visit like my whole family basically. I saw my dad, my mum, my stepdad, I saw my granny, I saw my nana and granddad, I saw my two brothers, all today. So that's why I didn't get to do the rest of the video. It's like the second I arrive in this town and pull outside someone's house, they know I'm there. And they're like, why is she sitting in her car? But anyways, so what I did was I had to drive from my granny's house back to my mum's house so she could then take me to this meal. And I was running late, essentially, by about 10 minutes. So she calls me, she's like, you need to leave. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave. I get back to my mum's house and I have this feeling like the house looks empty, and I'm like, I really hope she hasn't left. Like, I'm gonna be angry if she's left, because this place is like 15 minutes away. So she was gonna take me there, her and my stepdad, right? So I thought, okay, I got my coat on, it was raining and everything. It was like kind of dark, and I was like, I never get angry either. So it's so strange that I did. And I was like, oh, she better not have left. Like, I don't know where she is, the house looks dark. So I went into my car, I got my phone, I got my coat on, I was walking over to her house. I open up my phone and it says, we're gonna be late, meet you there. And I was like, are you serious? Like, I just drove from the other end of town to come to your house so you could take me there, because originally I said meet me there. My stepdad was like, no, we'll take you, don't worry. And I was like, oh my god, I was standing there in the rain and I was like, as if I haven't done enough driving today. Now I'm gonna have to drive to this place for going for a meal, which is like 15 minutes away. And I got back in the car and I was like, Charlotte, it's your fault. Like, you're projecting this issue onto them. You're the one that's running 10 minutes late. Whether she told you to leave or not from Granny's, it doesn't matter. She shouldn't have had to call you and told you to leave. You should have already left. You should have already had the time management skills to leave promptly, and essentially you'd have been on time then and you'd have been able to go there. And I was still like battling for like, oh, she told me she was gonna wait for me, and then like now she hasn't. She texted me whilst I was driving, like I'm never gonna see that text. And then the side of me started to calm, and I was like, it is my fault. If I had have got here 10 minutes earlier, they'd have still been waiting for me. So the fact that they left, they had to do what they had to do. The table might have been taken away, because essentially I arrived at this place nearly 15 minutes late. So by that time, the table would have gone. And I actually, in the end, I was like, it's fine. It was my fault. I was just projecting. And essentially a part of me there was probably thinking about the times where people didn't look out for me as a child. Not that anything particularly happened. I probably just had times where people didn't look out for me, and I did have to kind of go off by myself. And maybe that triggered a part of me. But in the moment I caught myself and realized I'm getting angry because I'm angry at myself, and I'm choosing for someone to blame it on because my ego is trying to protect itself. I don't want to drop my confidence, so the easiest thing to do is to blame someone else. And we constantly do this blame game all the time. You blame the boss for treating you like rubbish. You blame them for, you know, telling you what to do and giving you all the jobs, but it's you that's allowing that person to do it. It's you that has the lack of self-respect that you accept that behavior. You're the one that accepts all the jobs. You're the one that lets them speak to them like that without questioning them, without demanding a bit of respect. You're the one that stays in the job, that doesn't allow the promotion with the boss. The people that had the self-respect, that had the self-confidence and the self-knowing that they were meant for more, would have immediately left that job and wouldn't have stuck around. But of course we're addicted to suffering, and you know, that whole rubber band thing where you stay in the comfort zone, and that comfort zone is likely, you know, I don't know, a parent that used to tell you off a lot, and now that parent is no longer around anymore, you now attract that same parent, that same authority figure in your boss. And because you're used to that behavior, you continuously allow it, right? It's like a comfort zone for you. And then as soon as you start to stretch out that rubber band, it feels that uncomfortable for you to start just say something that stands up for yourself, or to leave that job. It's too uncomfortable, you hate it, and you return back to the comfort zone. And obviously outside the comfort zone, outside that rubber band, is your comfort zone, and this is where the self-development really starts to come through, and you never go back from that point. Then once you've actually evolved out of that rubber band, you will never ping back, because you've set the boundaries in place, you've set the self-confidence in place, and your new self-concept is solidified. Those new neural pathways have formed, and it's going to be a lot harder to start settling for less again. And by that point in your self-development journey, you're not going to settle for less. You're going to pinpoint people when they start to bring you down, and then you'll never get brought down again. There's no going back at that point. You have to get past the rubber band part. You have to see where everyone is a reflection of your shadows, and every scenario is a reflection of the inner work that you need to start doing. And everything you'll see is you protecting yourself. So even people like beeping at you when you're on the road, and like they've the one that's done something, they're rushing around in their life, that's all a reflection of their own self, things that are going on inside of them that they need to work on. And they're all things that we need to ignore completely. Just be thankful that we don't have that issue, and feel almost bad for the people. Send them love. So don't feel bad, because that's a bad emotion, but send them love and say, I hope they get better soon. That's all we need to do. When someone says someone think bad, or someone's road raging, or they're speeding around, or something like that, I hope that they do better soon. I wish them the best. And I'm not gonna feel bad for them, because again, like, that's not my feeling. They don't deserve my energy. But I'm not gonna let it affect me, because if I let it affect me, then it's just showing me that I'm not fully healed. So I hope that video helped you. Again, if you want to learn, if you want to start your shadow work journey, then the Passive Princess package is going to be the best one for you. That's where we're going to start the initial shadow work journey, the inner work, and I'm going to be there to guide you through the way, because it's a coaching package as well as many other things, which you can obviously have a look at in the description. And that's where you're going to be able to have the first shadows that are impending over your life, shall we say? No, I'm not going to say that, because that sounds negative. The shadows that are essentially going to be directly associated with your success, with your manifestation, with your inner work, and that's where we're going to begin it. And you're going to start be able to live your passive princess lifestyle with those dream income level, partner, whatever you want, house. But that's the beginning package there. The Passive Princess package is the first initial beginner's work package, where we're going to initially reveal those surface level shadows. So it's like surface level shadow work. But that's the only package where I actually work with you one-on-one. And maybe there'll be more to come in the future. But I hope that video helped you, and have a lovely day. even though it was only a cut, thanks for waiting throughout the day. Sorry for the sudden atmosphere change, but I think this is a better setup now I'm home instead of in the car. But sometimes I just have to get the message out on the spot, and I'm like, this can't wait till later on. So I've kind of had to dig out the message I was feeling earlier on. I feel like I've done a good job of it, so I'm glad I haven't slept on it or anything, because it's when you sleep on it, it kind of escapes you. But yeah, I knew a lot of you guys needed to hear this right now. Whatever bad thing happens, just know it's your manifestation coming. And if you really don't think that it's the manifestation coming, just know that it's a lesson that you need to learn, that the universe is essentially giving you to say, this is what you need to work on before your manifestation can happen. This is the shadow work you need to do. This is the thing that you need to do before you can have this. So everything is like that, essentially. You won't get a manifestation unless you're ready for it, unless you have the energetic space for it, unless you can hold it, not let it run through your fingers. You will not get a manifestation until you're capable of having it, until you're ready to hold it energetically, maturely, right? So this is why the inner work is so important. Like, instead of just jumping straight into the manifestation, we need to be actively doing the shadow work and the manifestation work side by side, so they can complement each other. As you're doing the inner work, the shadow work, you can slowly drip feed these manifestations. As you do more inner work, the manifestations will start to come through. You can't just do the manifestation work, and then expect to get everything, because you'll be able to manifest small things here and there, but you won't be manifesting anything big, because you're not a match for it. You're not an energetic match for it yet. You need to do the work inside of you to let go of the things that are pulling you away from it. So yeah, I hope that helps and makes sense. But I'll see you in another video. Have a lovely, lovely day or evening if you're watching this in the evening time, and I'll see you in the next video.